Coming in at number 18, the bottom of my Marvel TV pantheon is Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion, I think, starts very, very strong. I think Secret Invasion has 2 really good episodes, and that is a very tricky thing because that's what they screen for critics. And then I actually interviewed a number of people involved with Secret Invasion, having been very high on it, and then it falls so far, so fast. I consider the last 2 episodes 2 of the worst episodes of Marvel TV. I also think that it wastes a very big death. I also think it is very smart in its setup, and then it crumbles so quickly with, plot holes and the waste of Don Cheadle and the special effects. It doesn't work. It bit off a big ol' bite of something, and it just could not chew it up, and we all got thrown up on. So number 18, the bottom of the medley, is Secret Invasion. Coming in at number 17, for me, it's working correctly now, is going to be What If. All 3 seasons of What If, for me, don't quite work. I think there are a lot of elements where it has ideas that don't feel actualized. Like, I like some of the headier stuff that season 3 wanted to try to do. I like some of the existential things, but it never felt important enough to the rest of the story. The actual individual what ifs didn't feel like what ifs. Like, they don't have what the what if comics feel special involved whatsoever. So number 17 is undermining the comics what if, and also kind of destabilize the Marvel cinematic multiverse things. There's a few in this show and then this rundown of shows that are lower ranked because I think they're a lot of the instability in the MCU, why people think that the multiverse doesn't work. This is one of them. Not having the Doctor Strange from Multiverse of Madness be this Doctor Strange, but be very, very close. Doing that build up to Ultron, that was great, and then not having really go anywhere. A lot of things just felt wrong with What If, and so it is not higher for me. Coming in at number 17. Coming in at number 16, we've got Eyes of Wakanda. Eyes of Wakanda is 4 episodes as a bit of an anthology series that had a lot of potential and felt very, very lived in, and then they released it all at once. So instead of feeling like it was a serialized anthology like a comic book, because of the release model, it felt like a really disjointed movie. I like the concepts presented a lot more than the execution. I'm definitely bummed that this show wasn't more my jam because I really love the world of Wakanda, but alas, I wasn't all that invested in the villains because by the time everything came out the way it came out, but it had some fun moments, and that's why it's a little higher than the other 2. I think the other 2 messed up more of the MCU. This did not mess up anything. It does not change my opinion negatively of any of the Wakanda stuff, just isn't higher than this. Coming in at number 15, we've got the one that's going to upset everyone like it did on Instagram. I posted this ranking on Instagram, and I got a lot of requests to explain myself, in large part because of this choice right here. So here I am, telling you why I think Hawkeye is number 15. This show really, really messed up Kingpin. This show tried to do multiversal things, and I think this show is why they remade Daredevil into Daredevil Born Again and scrapped that whole Daredevil show, because I think the way Kingpin came in here, it made everything feel false. He wasn't quite the Kingpin of Netflix. He also wasn't quite a new character. The Hawaiian shirt is comic accurate, but it threw everything off because the characterization didn't feel right. I did not feel as invested in the Tracksuit Mafia as I wanted to, as I was in the comic. This is an example of reading the Matt Fraction, David Aja comic that actually made the show worse because the comic is so good and the show is so fine. It's not a bad show. It's so many things that I love. Shane Black-esque buddy comedy, Christmas, tracksuit guy. I have 4 tracksuits. A lot of characters I love. Haley Steinfeld being perfectly cast and not used as well as I think she could have. This was an example of it just not working out as well as the sum of its parts. This ingredient list was stronger than the meal that it made, and it's number 15 for me. So this is in the good but not great category. I think the only bad show Marvel TV has made is Secret Invasion. I think What If even has moments. I think Eyes of Wakanda has moments. This show is good but not great. Next up, another good but not great is Echo. I think this show had a much better supporting cast than, for example, Hawkeye. Hawkeye's supporting cast, I did not care about the swordsman. I did not care about that subplot and the richness. This show gave me an entire tapestry of characters that I was really, really invested in. Bunch of new characters I'd never met that weren't necessarily from the comic, but were so entrenched in the culture this show brought. I thought this show handled rebranding Kingpin very well. I thought this show was a great example of spotlighting, of focusing in, of making a character that isn't very well known fascinating. I thought it was a great use of Sonder, of realizing other characters have full and rich lives, and when they bring in Daredevil, they do that in a way that is almost antagonistic, and you feel that, like, oh, this would be like to meet Daredevil if I wasn't a hero. Loved all that. I really liked the characterization, and I think this was a good but not great show. The ending, the finale, fine, and this is one of those examples of Marvel not quite sticking the landing, so this is high good, but still not great. I think this next show is the lowest of the good not greats. Yes, again, this is going to piss people off because it's not number 18. Coming in at number 13 is She-Hulk. What I have interesting about She-Hulk is that this is a show that I actually enjoyed. The beginning and the end. It was the middle that didn't work for me. A lot of people just didn't like this show, and hey, that's their right and their journey. I personally got a lot out of Hawkeye. I thought the meta-ness was really fun. I thought the way it handled fourth wall breaking in this medium was pretty genius. Using the actual formatting Disney Plus in the end was solid. It was a good ending for me. I thought Kevin was funny. The problem became in the middle episodes where it got so sitcom-y that it kind of lost the tone and plot. Like, you can kind of lose yourself in comedy, and you can lose yourself in meta, and you can lose yourself in what's working and what isn't. And I think if this was like 6 or 7 episodes of the best of, it'd be better than the 9 episodes where there was a couple that just kind of meandered. I loved the Daredevil stuff. I really thought that was a fun way to show the versatility of Matt Murdock and Daredevil. I thought she was great. I had a lot of fun with this show. This is the top of the good but not greats as we get into the greats. Coming in at number, I believe, 12 is Ironheart. This show I liked so much more than the internet did. This show is, again, this is the top of the good but not greats. This show really showed the power of casting. I think that not only is this really, really stellar performance that actually outshone Wakanda Forever from Dominique Thorne, but with Lyric Ross playing Riri, with Dominique Thorne playing Riri and Lyric Ross playing, her name escapes me, I'm so sorry, the AI, the best friend, that character that is so important to our entire journey with this character. We get to see the power of casting, and these two's friendship is the anchor of the whole show. I thought the special effects were solid. I thought that it really brought in some cool legacy elements. Legacy characters are hard. We get legacy from Ironmonger. We get legacy from Iron Man. We get all sorts of looks at what if you don't have the privilege of being born into money and you're a genius, and you actually have to figure out what being a genius is in regular life. I really love the paralleling of how those worlds would change. Thank you, Sarah Hatchadori and Natalie. I really, really think that Natalie and Riri's relationship shone so bright, and I liked Alden Ehrenreich as, a bit of a Ironmonger legacy as well. I thought the villains worked. I thought the ending absolutely landed. It was a great mix of mysticism and the world of magic and technology that we're going to need leading up to Doom. I really dug everything they did to blend those worlds. I liked it quite a bit. Ironheart, the top of the good but not great. As we get to number 11, which I consider the first of the greats, we've got Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This show is really interesting because it came out at a horrible time for this exact show. This show has some great comedy. This show was weekly water cooler conversation. This is the first of the greats, the bottom of the greats. So we're talking like B+ here with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I was hooked. I was invested. I was so in. And I think the only real problems were the stuff they couldn't control. But that happened. Like, it's still part of the show. There was an entire subplot with a virus and a vaccine they had to cut because this came out during lockdown. There was a lot of things that didn't work tonally because of those changes. I think the handing off of the shield, I really loved to see in long form. I loved Isaiah. I loved teasing a future lad. I loved the way this really set up a friendship that earns the things like in Thunderbolts, that are going to earn the things we get in Doomsday. I love the chemistry between Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie. I love that it showed why all the people that are like, just make Bucky, that's your guy, just make him. No, that is not. Bucky Barnes cannot be Captain America. The comics have told us why, and now a show has told us why. He is not mentally there. I think they handled therapy really well. I think he doesn't want that. I think there's a lot of reasons, and I think it really, really works that they handled it this way and they navigated it in a long form. And I think even though it kind of sacrificed, Zemo, it worked for me because of how fun it was. So number 11 is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We're into our top 10. Another B+ is going to be Agatha all along. This is another exception, kind of like She-Hulk, where the middle was actually what didn't work for me. The end is what brought me back. This was the most I have felt like I don't want to be part of the Marvel fandom anymore, was Agatha. This was the most vitriolic and angry group of people that took everything very personally when I was just offering that my opinion was not enjoying the middle. It's very interesting when you've been an advocate for a lot of your internet life, and then as soon as you don't like something, that exact group of people you've advocated for decides they hate you. That made the show very hard to enjoy. Luckily, it is a very good show and found its way back to me through the Patti LuPone episode. This show was really campy in a way that I did not connect with. This show was written in a way that I didn't personally find as compelling as I wanted to with these characters, but the acting and the writing at the end of the beginning absolutely was my jam. I think the middle really didn't work for me, and that's okay, but the beginning and the end were so good and so tight and so compelling. It's in my top 10. Like, this is a really great show. I love the character of Agatha because I think Catherine Hahn found a way to elevate her even outside the comics. I'm from Boston. I love Salem, Mass. I think this world is very, very compelling. And the magic that they managed here and the psychological manipulation they did with the end, delightful. Really, really enjoyed the end and beginning of the show. It is number 10. Coming in at number 9. This one is the prime example, along with my number, I believe, 3 or 4, of the ending not working for me and that really undermining everything. This would be a lot higher if the ending wasn't a punch 'em up. I loved Moon Knight right up until the last episode, and it became like a kaiju fight. So number 9, this would probably be top 5 if it was more like the first 5 episodes. This show is so well written, so well acted, so well directed. Justin Benson, Aaron Moorhead, who are doing Daredevil Born Again, directed half of these. Mohammed Diab, who's also great, directed the other half. I loved the villain. I think Ethan Hawke is so incredible, so memorable. I remember the first time you saw the glass in his shoes and heard that sound. There's so many things I really loved about the transformation. I loved seeing Mr. Knight. I think Oscar Isaac's performance in this is one of the best of the MCU. Like, he's incredible in this. And the fact that it ends setting us up to where we get to the stuff that everyone knows about Moon Knight is incredible. Really dug the show. I just hated the ending, and that's a bummer because the stuff in the afterlife was so good and so strong. But that's a problem I have with a few Marvel shows. This is, however, a great show. Highly recommend. Number 9. Number 8. This is the biggest surprise of the whole lot, at least for me. I was not anticipating Marvel Zombies. I did not think that Marvel Zombies was going to be in my top 10. It is high up there. I think Marvel Zombies is one of the most Avengers things they've done since Endgame. I think it is one of the best things they've done in any phase. I think it is probably the best Marvel Studios-centric animation. This is everything I wanted from what If could have been. The writing is great. The voice acting is great. The action is genius and so well directed. It has huge stakes. It is a global threat. It uses the the tapestry of the MC that's already set up. Like, oh, where did the outbreak start? San Francisco. That works for us narratively. Guess who else is there besides Ant-Man and Shang-Chi? Oh, cool dynamic fights. Like, it does all the things that make sense if you're writing a quilt that is the MCU, and it does it masterfully. I'm not a big zombie guy. Even Kirkman, who I love, I didn't really love the Marvel zombie stuff because I'm not much of a zombie guy. What's crazy is, in 1 year, Marvel zombies and 28 years later have started to show me the power of the zombie medium when written well, and I really, really dug this show, and it's very high up in my experience of what they can do with animation and shared storytelling between the MCU and a what if kind of thing in animation. So that is my number 8. My number 7 will not click. Mayday, number 7. We've got Daredevil Born Again. Daredevil Born Again is a tricky one because I have to judge this kind of like Falcon and Winter Soldier. It would probably be higher. Well, it would definitely be higher if we were counting Daredevil Netflix. If we were counting Daredevil Netflix, it would be number 2 because the average of the 4 seasons is so high. Daredevil Netflix, all 3 seasons are A's for me, so it would be right there at number 2. But if we're looking at just Daredevil Born Again, just the MCU stuff, I have to equate the episodes that were not the stuff that I loved. Like, there's a bottle episode I really dig in The Bank. There is the opening and the closing that are both really strong. Like Agatha, the very beginning and the very end of the show I dug. But there were a couple episodes where I was like, man, I really just am not feeling that same like must-watch compulsion, grit, and intensity that I did with Netflix. It got close, especially in the first and last 2 episodes, and that's why I'm excited for Born Again so much, because those guys, Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, are directing all of this next season. They don't have to tie in the other show. It's just gonna be better. But I really loved the Punisher episode. I really loved the last 2 and the first one. I didn't love the way Muse ended up working out. It felt like they set him up to be this huge thing and it just didn't quite land. So there were some demerits, but overall the experience of seeing the show was really, really special. Getting them all back was really special. Save Daredevil working was really special. I think a lot is strong here. The action is solid. The conviction of the 2 characters going from Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk being born again into their Daredevil and Kingpin personas, the paralleling of those stories, all that was dope. Really dug all those things, so it is number 7. Coming in at number 6, we're into the greats. To me, this is where things get just great. I have some flaws in this, but they're mainly because I'm not, young anymore. Like, I didn't connect with some of the youthful things, but I connected with the memory of being a kid. John Hughes flavor all over this. I love that this feels like what I always consider Miss Marvel is the modern representation of Silver Age Spider-Man, right? So what Silver Age Spider-Man means to me is a character that is so relatable and wants to connect with you in the narrative and through the use of the medium of comic books, that is invested in family and is defending their town. Like, all the things I love about Spider-Man is what Miss Marvel is, but for the modern day. And it also, the comic book taught me a lot about her religion that I didn't know, because we're not taught a lot about that religion in this country. And the show did the same. And the show had an incredible supporting cast. And the show, spoilers for a show from 2 years ago, introduced mutants in a fascinating way. Now, I don't like that the comics retconned to follow the show. I think that's a weird, dangerous precedent, but that's not the show's fault. So, really love the show. Now we're into the greats, and we're into, now after this, the top 5. Coming in at number 5, Wonder Man. I love this show so freaking much. Wonder Man is my favorite Disney Plus show since Loki. By the way, my social media person captioned my favorite Marvel thing since Logan, not Loki, and that has given lots of people lots of angry fodder on the internet. Loki is what I said. It was written Logan. It's my favorite Marvel TV show since Loki. This show is everything I love about street-level comic books. It is in the world of Marvel, but it is just using that to give you a accelerated world. It's using that as a cheat code to skip ahead to having this world already established. It doesn't need to have every little Easter egg and tie-in. It gets to be its own thing. It gets to tell an incredible story that is grounded, that is real, that is a love letter to art and to Hollywood, two things I love. It is about what it is to be an artist and to make it. It is about a secret identity, which the MCU has not done well or often. It is about belonging and connecting. It's about brotherhood. It's about so many things, and all of that really resonated with me. Simon Williams, this is a cool example of something that definitely elevated outside of the comic books for me. I don't have that much investment in Simon Williams. I was excited for this show because of Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. Then the show was the most personal show I've seen in the MCU. Maybe this and Loki are the two most personal to me. And this is the most personal as far as my lived experience. The way this show navigates the acting experience and the experience of being an artist and no one understanding, and is doing that while being a love letter to LA, felt at times like PTSD and at times like, man, I love this city. I think it accomplished all the things I wanted it to. I'm not going to spoil anything because I promised everyone when I started this that this would be spoiler free. See Wonder Man. It is exceptional. I wish it got at least 4 weeks, like two. I wish it had more time. I've been talking about the advertisement stuff a lot, and you know what? I've gotten a lot of crap this week on the internet because of mentioning I didn't think they advertised it well. I won't dive into that further, but I will say that I wish they had released it in a way that felt more confident and in a way that felt like it could be advertised for longer. I'm afraid this won't be talked about in 2 weeks, and it should be for quite some time, but that is the nature of media today. Number 5, Wonder Man deserves the world. It is exceptional. It is one of the best things Marvel Studios has made. It is new right now. Go watch it. It's very good. All right, number 4. We got WandaVision, the thing that started all of this. Marvel Studios TV. True event television, truly edge of your seat TV. Now we're into, I would say Wonder Man is an A. I would say this is an A bordering on A+. This is very close to an A+. Between the decades and evolution week to week, between the mystery box element, between the payoffs, between the double blinds, there's so much that works. It is damn near an A+, but I did not like that the show went from a ship of Theseus metaphor, very intellectual, jarring study of grief. Some of the most, the quote about grief is something that's helped me through the last 2 weeks in a real way. And that's because of a show based off a comic that I love. I love the Vision comic from Tom King. It is, what's his name? Walter Mata? His name escapes me. I'm so sorry. He's an incredible artist. And the comic is already so powerful. And then the show, I think, was even better. I think the show is so attuned to the human condition, why we love art, why we love TV, why we love these characters. Wonder Man does a great job reframing that even further with why, we love them as kids and why we love them as adults, and the difference and the journey of loving these characters. This show presents it in a different way. It does everything right. I just didn't love the ending, didn't love the last episode, so it couldn't be number 1, but it's damn high. It is a very, very special piece of art. Coming in at number 4, WandaVision. Number 3, X-Men 97. Guys, X-Men 97 did the impossible. It lived up to nostalgia. The X-Men 90 show is next level special. It is like everything we all love about the 90s if you're a comic fan in one show. I can smell Pizza Hut when I think of that show because they had the tie-in VHS tapes. I remember watching it. I remember learning certain characters from that show and reading them in the comics later, and I remember the connection. I remember so much about the X-Men 90 series, and to do a continuation of that is bold and brave, and then they exceeded expectations. The writing is just as good, if not better. The animation is just as good, as not better. The characterizations are apt, and they live up to it. The show came back in such a bold way, and it lived up to impossible expectations. It brought us back our X-Men. It made Cyclops the leader and awesome mutant he is meant to be. It is all the things. I love the X-Men movies. I think they're very special. I think they brought us this era in such a unique way. But all the things they did wrong, the X-Men show does right, and does those things right. The show is so good. We're into A+ territory. My first A+, X-Men 97. My next one is, you could interchange these two. My number 2 and number 3 could interchange. But my next A+, number 2, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I think this show is everything I've wanted to see in a Spider-Man show my whole life. I actually like this better than the Spider-Man 90 show, which I adore, which introduced me to so many characters that I'm still collecting and obsessed with. The Spider-Man and X-Men myths are my Greek mythology. Comic myths are my Greek mythology, but Spider-Man and X-Men are how I learned to read. I discovered Batman when I was 5. I discovered Spider-Man and X-Men when I was 2, and I learned to read with Spider-Man in particular. I think I got my first X-Men comic at 4 or 5. So for 2 years, I was just Spidey and just those images and trying to learn the words, and there's no character that means more to me than Spider-Man. And this show reinvented him like the Ultimate Spider-Man comic in the year 2000 for a new generation of kids. Ultimate Spider-Man comic today is for the adults that have loved him forever and for kids, but it's very much tied to my generation. This show got to be for both. It gave Lonnie Lincoln all of his flowers. They made Tombstone as fascinating as they could, and like as fascinating as Spider-Man. Like, I'm not saying as they could as a negative. They made him as fascinating as Spider-Man. They gave it a 2-lead show. They made Scorpion finally pay off from years ago with Homecoming, and they did it all while paralleling the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This show got to become like, what if there weren't contracts in the MCU? We don't have to involve Iron Man. We can involve Norman. We don't have to do this. We don't have to go left. We can go right. We can make it bigger. We don't have to worry about continuity. You can just do what you want and tell a Spider-Man story, and it gets to reinvent Spider-Man lore. For fans that know the comics as well as I do, and new fans, this gets to be someone's Spider-Man. I think it's so special. I love this show. A+. No notes, no changes. I can't wait for season 2. Only one show can top all these shows, and that is going to be the show that changed my view on the medium of TV, and that is Loki. This show manages to make the god of stories, the literal god of stories, transcending television, transcending comics, transcending movies, tying all sorts of continuity into an all-new thing, making art a different thing, telling us a story about stories that is so compelling, full of so much love and heart, that is so human while being elevated, that is full of a perfect cast of characters, that wraps up perfectly, that introduces a villain that is terrifying in each season, that introduces the TVA, a very complex idea, that introduces things like Mobius, both the artist and the character, that is so full of humor and heart and intelligence, and it never treats the audience like it's dumb. It wants you to keep up on its incredible journey, but it's never condescending either. It is just smart and compelling. It's perfect TV. It is a perfect story. Loki is my number one show, my number one Marvel Studios property. It actually might be my number one Marvel Studios anything, TV or film. I think I'm going to be rewatching everything Marvel Studios leading up to Doomsday, and then I think I'm going to re-rank all of it either after Doomsday or after Secret Wars. But I wanted to do TV today in honor of Wonder Man. I hope you enjoyed this journey, you lovelies. We still have lots more news, but that concludes my ranking of the Marvel Studios TV universe. Number 18, Secret Invasion. Number 17, What If. Number 16, Eyes of Wakanda. Number 15, Hawkeye. Number 14, Echo. Number 13, She-Hulk. Number 12, Ironheart. Number 11, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Number 10, Agatha All Along. Number 9, Moon Knight. Number 8, Marvel Zombies. Number 7, Daredevil Born Again. Number 6, Miss Marvel. Number 5, Wonder Man. Number 4, WandaVision. Number 3, X-Men 97. Number 2, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And number 1, Loki. Lots of greatness in there. I would love to know your ranking in the comments below. I'd love to know, if you're watching live, your ranking right here. Top 5, top 10, all 18, whatever you want to share. I'd love to know how you feel about this universe.